Welcome back everyone, I'm Madals and this is the Plantonics UK Open. Spawning up in the north position of Heavy Rain, we have got the blue Protoss player who represents FM Esports, Ourk. And his opponent, down to the south, the Green Terran, currently one game up, Mr. RobbyG. RobbyG, of course, winning game number one with just some beautiful play, sniping off a Colossus of a very tech-greedy build from Ourk, and then having baited, Photon Overcharges just pushed in with a mass rally across the map and won the game pretty smoothly. This game, though, Heavy Rain is a map which I think most people would agree has some very potent builds that Terran players struggle with against Protoss. And that's all due to the amount of cliff area around the main base. Blinkstalker plays hugely effective. Proxy Stargates as well can be devastatingly good if they're proxied down here and very hard to scout. Can lead to some very cool stuff. Also though, for Protoss, Reapers are a bit of a nuisance because of again, this vast amount of cliff. So RobbyG going to be opening the same way as game number one. And who can blame him? Because game number one, he looked to be in a magnificently good position. Really all the way through that. Ourk, he's also opening the same way with this very, very early double gas. So by getting this double gas down before the gateway's even finished, he's able to get so much tech very quickly. But one thing I think would be a good move for Ourk to make is just to make sure that he gets a bit more defense out. Maybe not going for just a single gateway into that tech. Maybe getting a bit of tech with a few more gateways just so he's got some units on the ground to defend against that sort of push. So, RobbyG, first Reaper, coming out now. Not really too much else. If he follows the exact same build as last time, the next construction will be a command center ready for his expansion. Ourk, on the other hand, should, if he continues on the way he did game number one, will add in a Stalker and a Mothership core as soon as the Cybernetics core has been completed. The Reaper making his way across the map at the moment, just coming straight through the middle, through this nice little avenue, down, a little bit of greenage. Only greenage on the map is actually around here, I do believe, apart from obviously the bushes and stuff. I don't think there's too much else around in the way of grass. In comes the Reaper, going to start chipping away at probes. The Mothership core though, able to deal with the Reaper quite effectively, but in what is an exact mimic of game number one so far. One kill, one worker kill to that Reaper, expansion coming down for RobbyG, as well as the engineering bay. So things really looking just the same as we saw last game. And that bodes well for RobbyG actually, because he won game number one very convincingly. Ourk though is expanding a bit earlier than he did last game if memory serves. No, actually he's not, he's expanding at the same time. If he continues on with the same build, he should add in a robotics facility shortly. What I wouldn't be surprised to see is a Twilight Council though, in order to get Blink and go for some kind of two base Blink play as opposed to one base Blink play. That's a nice build too. But yeah, nothing too much really going on, both players being relatively passive. And it looks to be Ourk opting for the exact same build as game number one. That robotics facility on its way down. Nothing really too much else to say, just Ourk seeming to be happy, expanding and teching just as he did in the last map, hoping this time probably that things go a bit more in his favour. There's the Forge, again he's going to be investing so heavily in tech, all of his resources going down that route, which means that he is limited in how much defense he's got at any time. Stim on its way through, the +1 Terran infantry weapons, also about halfway done. Quite a big upgrade lead here at the moment for RobbyG. The double sentry down at the front, ready to force field off if needed. The Mothership core as well, just chilling about, banking up some more energy, ready for those Photon Overcharges and Time Warps. And yeah, Ourk, he's going to be playing identically, and so is RobbyG. So if RobbyG were to go for the same push that he did last game, and everything happens pretty much the same, RobbyG will be in a good spot. The thing that Ourk is going to be very careful about though, is that if that same push comes, he doesn't let his Colossus go and engage the drop in the main single-handedly. Because losing that Colossus quite probably lost Ourk the game. He didn't have the splash damage required to be able to take down the infantry quickly enough. Now this Reaper's coming back in, manages to get a second probe kill. That's really good in itself. That force field is like, you know when cars in movies are like teetering on the edge? That's what that force field is doing. I don't know what happened if a unit went there. Could a unit actually go there? I don't know. These things. Anyway, small little move forward now from this infantry. Gets spotted by the observer. The first Colossus coming down just as the last game. The additional gateways also in construction. The first two medevacs should be in production. Should be making their way across. And this is looking mighty similar to game number 1. RobbyG adding in more barracks. He's got Stim about to finish up. And Ourk is investing quite heavily in some gateway support, keeping all of his units at this ramp between the natural and main, so that no matter where a push comes, he's able to try and deal with it. So this little move in is really just there to bait a Photon Overcharge, and that's what it's going to succeed in doing. And basically with that coming down, the Marine, one Marine dies for 100 Mothership Core energy. Definitely worthwhile. The Mothership Core though does still have 100 more energy. Is RobbyG going to see the shimmer? Yep, he is. Of course, even cloaked units do shimmer a little bit, so you know they're there, and you can then scan to kill them. Aurk though, putting a pylon, proxied, outside of the natural base of RobbyG, perhaps preparing for some kind of counter-attack. With the push yet again coming across, the medevac going to drop up into the main. Is Aurk prepared for this? His Mothership Core staying up near the main base, but he's got no vision. Because of that observer getting killed, he doesn't know this is coming. Aurk's pretty much blind to whatever's occurring outside his base. But he's still adding in a lot more units. There's the Photon Overcharge to the main. One Marine dies for the cost of a couple of probes. Definitely a good trade. The factory granting high ground vision, which is clearly very important. But the difference is this game, Aurk does have those two Colossi. The infantry getting dropped up into the main base, ready to go for that multi-prong harass. The factory coming back, going to try and land itself, but it's going to die, unfortunately, to that many Stalkers. Photon Overcharge in the main nearly run out, and Aurk suffering a bit of a supply block right now. And he doesn't, unfortunately, have another pylon in production. A lot of his attention is just in defending this push, which is causing that slight slip up in play, because all of his attention is really on defending against this multi-prong attack. The attack that killed him in the last game. But this is now going to become quite a big supply block, and really not what Aurk would have wanted. Photon Overcharge has now gone in the main base. Probe starting to die. RobbyG with some good micro. The main army not getting baited back though, knowing that there's a big force outside the natural base. Stalker's taking quite a bit of damage, but should be able to finish this off. The medevac is going to get focused, but this is a good trade. In the natural base, the infantry now moving forward. The Vikings sniping off the first Colossus. The second one is going to start taking some more damage, but most of the infantry has been killed. Unfortunately, probes though are being pulled in order to defend this, which means that Aurk takes significant losses. The Mothership Core is going to die now to those Vikings. The Colossi are all down. There's more infantry here. The medevacs though aren't. Well, there's one on the field, but regardless, with the Vikings now landing, the probes are getting slaughtered. And RobbyG is set to take a 2-0 lead in this series. One game away now from winning this best of 5 3-0, winning the Plantonics Gaming Commander headset, and winning a lot of pride. We'll find out if he can do it in the next map.